Oh, hey, I'm on. Hey, hey, loves. How are you all doing? As always, I love being here with you, and thank you so much for the opportunity to show up live with you. So please, as always, if you have any questions, you always know that I love to have the show be interactive. So don't hesitate, drop your questions, and myself and my guests we'll get to you with those questions. And again, I know there are so many places that you can be. So I really appreciate you and I'm grateful for you being here. And please subscribe, like, and share so we can continue to bring you incredible guests like my really magical guest today. My guest today is Anthony Musleh, also known as Lemuse. Anthony Musleh is a DJ and music producer who has many interests. Anthony pushes himself to always find new passions and takes the risk to pursue his passions. He believes our failures are incredible learning moments and build our resilience and confidence. He is relationship oriented and strongly believes that we must find our people to find that true sense of purpose. He consistently makes a sincere effort to spread positivity and stay open minded, always ready to learn more. He has a passion for music and is known for creating magical experiences for his audience. So please help me welcome Anthony to the show today. Hi, Anthony.
Going? What's going
How
on?
are you, honey?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Good to see you.
See you.
I'm excited to chat with you because it's been amazing because we've connected a few times and I'm like, oh my gosh, your generation is so wise and aware and it's just it really it makes my heart full. So I'm excited to have, the chat with you today. Something that I love for you, you just really, you pursue your passions and you kind of you step outside the box. And I love that about you. What would you say inspired you to pursue your passion, step outside the box as opposed to going the traditional route?
I think. I mean, obviously. I mean, okay, not obvious because nobody knows me. So, for the people who don't know, uh, my father was a DJ and uh, yeah, very, very popular, event coordinator in San Francisco in like the '90s, 2000s, and he always helped. He always pushed himself to build his brand and to speak through Arabic music and dance music and he built a name for himself back in the day, and I thought, and growing up around that is like, wow, like, that's not very common for like one of the guys who he grew up in Kuwait, and he moved here when he was like 14, English second language, and it's not very common for those kind of people to, integrate themselves into that kind of scene and to expose themselves to the world like that. So,
Yeah, I mean, I I can remember very many level up parties, DJ Natter parties. I mean, I still have the CDs at home, and I can't imagine how incredible it must have been to kind of be just living in that, environment because your dad, he really did do something very magical. He did bridge, two worlds to come together in a way that really crossed cultural lines. Like anybody could listen to DJ Natter, music, and the parties were incredible. And so you were just a little, you were just a baby.
baby.
And what, like you witnessed that. What was that like for you? Because you're right. It was like DJ Natter.
It's like up until when you're
That's
that
your daddy.
but when you're that young, it's like I don't know what he's doing. Like I was like 5, 4, whatever, and I was sitting at home, and he'd be like, "All right, see you later." It's like 8 p.m. He like leaves. I'm like, "Where's he going?" Like he's not like I don't know. I just know that he's a DJ, and I know that it's cool, and I know that everyone I talk to is like, "Oh, your dad's the man." Like, like up until I was like 14, and he showed me how to DJ. I was like, I don't really like think of anything of it. I just thought it was like kind of cool, but I didn't realize how big of an influence he was having on his people.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And ooh, I'm about to get emotional because this stuff does. It's like how, again, it's all how we show up for our children, like they're watching, you guys were watching us.
Yeah.
And something that I found so amazing and so special is that when I had my book launch, that you and Rami and Shadi were the ones that we reached out to, like, hey, come bring it. And the atmosphere that you guys created was absolutely incredible. And yes, DJ Natter is amazing, and he is the man, was the man, still is the man. And what I find just absolutely beautiful and incredible is how you are just kind of stepping into like that role, but even in a greater way.
It's cool because we're actually like I'm doing a different thing than he did, which is cool. And he's like along for the ride because he always said like I got to my point where like he made his CDs where he would mix all of these Arabic songs and make it a perfect listen every time,
Hmm.
mixed with world dance music. Um, but in terms of making original music, completely different story. So I was like, uh, so so like that's where I come in. I want to make like my own. I do now, but like I want to be known for like my own stuff.
Yes.
And I remix some songs, um, but I'm really trying to work on making like original sound, which I'm actually proud of. So
Yes, absolutely. And it's interesting because again, like he built the foundation, and
yeah,
then now it's, ready for you to step into to take it to another level, which that's the beauty of witnessing the generations. Like, okay, there was my parents' generation, and then how, us and your dad kind of came and we did things a little bit different, and now your generation is even taking it to another level. And that's for me what life's about. That's when you talked about, relationships and purpose, that's what it's about. Like the purpose is like, at least for me, my purpose is to keep pushing the envelope to be the best that I can, to pave the way for you and the others. And that's what your dad did. And that's the purpose.
yeah.
Yeah, sure, things are nice and I love things, and I love, but that's the greatest part, is watching this co-creation and collaboration as we open the door for your generation.
Life is a TV show, man.
Right?
It's
So
like see,
I say that, I'm like, it's a game, but I
yeah,
love that. It is a TV show. Tell me why you believe it's a TV show.
I mean, season one. It's like you know,
Mhm.
come from. Let's talk. We can go like my grandfather. Season one. He
That's true.
seventh grade education, moved to moved to Detroit, moved back to Qatar, moved to Kuwait, then moved to America. You know, doesn't speak English. Seventh grade education, and somehow you know builds his life and has his family, and everyone's there, and everyone's happy and healthy. And season one, season two, that like the kids take over. Everyone builds their own legacies. Now season three,
Yeah.
now it's like okay, I'm here. What am I gonna do? Why am I like the way it works? I think is like it's cool because in general the world just gets faster as we go. Like
True.
to promote a party when they were doing it in the 90s 2000s, you had to walk up to people and give them flyers and get their address, mail it to them. Now it's like Instagram, and it's like everyone sees it. So like, and that applies to everything. Like there's so much fast information that can go out that like we all are so like everyone it's so there's so much access now that like I feel like everyone my age like wants to do something where like they're like progressing themselves in a fast way because that's just how they're trained. It's like, oh,
Mm.
this person online, because your social media is curated to you. If like
Right.
I like golf and music and parties and food, so like my whole social media is golf and music and parties and food. So like it motivates me to be like, I can do that. I want to make content like this. I want to like I have this. I should show people. So
Mhm.
that applies to everyone. So
Well, so that's what, well, I love that. You're right. It's social media has completely changed the way we do things. And I think about this all the time because the way I used to do business before and the way I do it now has changed. And it feels a little bit more stressful too.
oh yeah.
And so we also talked about this. And so, what do you think are the pros of social media and the cons?
Okay, so pros, I'm gonna go with the access to information, huge. the access to, um, I guess same thing, seeing the world. It's also information, but more so, it's like being a being able to stay connected with your people. And like, imagine this, like back in the day, I always think about this. Back in the day, like there was no like I see this person's face every day and like I know what they're doing all the time.
If they're
Like
posting.
I if they're posting, but in general, like a lot of people post pretty often, so like you see what your friends are doing and either way, like I would like that didn't exist. It's crazy to me because like the way I have my relationships is like I kind of have a general knowledge of like where my friends are like all the time. Like if they're like most of them are posting, I know like what kind of parties they go to and what kind of festivals they go to and what kind of how their school is going because they'll post about like, oh, I just did this or whatever. But like that didn't exist. Like it was
No.
like you see them like if you bump into them or like you call them, but they're like that doesn't. It's so crazy to me because like we have such like high frequency relationships with people
I love that.
that like I feel like like it makes me feel like if I don't see them all the time on social media and like I don't know exactly what they're doing, we're not actual friends. It's just like we just like know each other. But
So
that's
that's
not.
how you feel connected, is to just, it helps you feel connected by, you learn more about them when they're posting, seeing where they're at. So you feel connected to them that way.
Yeah, and
You know what? I'm kind of glad that my generation did not have social media when
no,
we were growing up.
I would prefer to
Yes.
grow up like you.
Ah,
I would prefer to grow up like you did. I'm not gonna
oh
lie.
my God.
Yeah,
We had a great time.
yeah,
And we always say, like, thank God we didn't have social media when we were growing up.
yeah,
So I hear what you're saying, like, and I agree with you. The positive, part of social media is, yes, being connected to people, and seeing them, because you're right. If I didn't have, social media, then I wouldn't see like everyone starting school today, and I wouldn't see my girlfriend's kids who, when I saw them last, seemed like little. Now they're going to 8th grade, and it felt awesome, watching all of that. And I'm completely aware that there is a really there's a messed up part, to it too. What do you
So
think that is?
so I feel like there's more cons and there's probably more pros and cons, but the cons are huge. Like
They
there's like
are.
so like my main thing is like pressure. Like when I said you see the content and you're like, oh, I should make that. That's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because it's like because I'll see like content that like other producers and DJs are making, and I'll just go down this rabbit hole of like scrolling and finding stuff that I love, and I'm like, wow, like if I don't like in my brain subconsciously, it's like I got to do this. Like if I don't do it like this, then like I won't succeed, and like blah blah blah, and it gives me like this stress, like as if like what I'm doing isn't enough, and like
Yeah.
I'm behind. That's the big thing, behind. Like I'm 20 years old. I'm not like the
You're a
average.
baby.
Huh? Yeah, I'm a
You're
baby.
a baby and you're doing great.
So exactly. So like for my age, on average, I'm doing fine. Like I'm about to finish college next year, and I'm doing my stuff, and I'm grinding. It's cool. But like when I'm looking at social media, I'm like, dude, I should be like 1,000 miles ahead of where I am. But like that's not true because
No.
it's just not true. So
No. And a lot of that is not real. Like, I'm in a lot of groups and I'm kind of connected to some pretty big influencers. And they talk about how, these some influencers, or those that you're seeing on social media, are renting, those red cars, the Ferraris and the warehouses, to
yeah,
take the pictures, to show you what they're doing. And in reality, most of it is not
yeah,
real.
yeah. And it's just it creates this subconscious like urge to like do more and do more and do it faster and be successful or like it's just like we're all at our own paces and
That's right.
everyone's like living their own life, and the fact that like we're always constantly looking at like what other people are doing and succeeding at it, like gives you motivation, but for other people it could also give you like this feeling of I'm not good enough,
That's right.
which is bad. So
That's totally right. And there's two ways, to look at it. You're right. There's like, okay, like I'm motivated and inspired by this because they say if you want to do something, then find someone who's done it and model them.
yeah,
So, which that's great. Like if you see someone who's done it, you model them. However, when we start comparing ourselves to
that's
it, that's a self-sabotage.
that's the word,
And
comparison.
in reality, like we really don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yep.
And so
I'll
I
give
think,
you I can give you an example. I mean,
please,
it's like, Avicii. He was one of the biggest.
Maze,
He
yes.
was probably the biggest like electronic artist of his times, like 2012.
Yeah.
Um, he made one of the biggest songs that like transferred like electronic music into the mainstream. Um, and he went from like doing clubs to only playing in front of like 60,000 people. Um, and one day he kills himself.
Yeah. I mean, so many stories like that.
Like it's like the this like high on life type feeling. It's like it can if you don't give yourself a break and if you don't let yourself like be a human being and just
That's right.
are only focused on that side of life, like you can't survive like that. It's just like it takes too much. It gives you too much dopamine. It doesn't let you like give it like work it out. You know what I mean? It's too much.
You're you're so wise because you just hit it on the nose. It's that dopamine. And I feel like just right now, our society is in a constant state of dopamine because of the phone. We're constantly getting hit with the dopamine. And then at some point, like we need more and more, but it's not sustainable.
It's just like all adrenaline. It's like, oh my god, that video is so funny. I gotta send it to all my friends. Oh my god,
Right. And that's exhausting.
it's
And
yeah,
I've had to deal with that,
it's
and where I'm
constant.
like, yes, and
Con-
it's not healthy. And I fall into it, even though like I'm mindful and I meditate and I teach these things, but it's like sometimes I'm like, holy cow, like time
It's,
out. Like
it's the great. They created the greatest drug ever made.
and it is because it's a constant because I love the hustle and grind, and I also know that it's not sustainable. So now I'm learning, okay, because I love the hustle and grind, but I'm learning, okay, like you also have to be and create from a place of presence, and I'm constantly working on that. So for your generation, it's even amplified because this is all you know. So how are you able to be present, find peace of mind? Because you need that presence and peace of mind to create the music that you create.
Right,
You can't create from a place of chaos.
right.
Like, how do you find that peace among all the distraction?
Actually, a great question. I I think a lot, and I do a lot of things, and I think about a lot of things that aren't like I overthink a lot, so I think about a lot of things that aren't real, and sometimes it stresses me out. But what I will say is I have a couple avenues in life where like if I do that thing, I'll like unplug and I'll not think for 5 hours, 6 hours,
Mm,
and it's so nice because that's how you like clear your mind. Like for example, golf. It's like I when I'm like doing a lot of stuff and I have so many things to do and I'm like really stressed. Like this week, next week school starts. I have like 10 different errands I got to run. And I'm kind of pushing them off, but I'm getting them done. So, uh, what I'm doing is like like I played. I'll like do a couple of them, and then like I'll have a really grind day, and then the next day I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go play golf,
I love it.
and I go and I'm on the course, and I put my phone in my bag, and I sit there and I play. I'll play like 5 hours. I don't touch my phone. It's like me and one of my buddies that I go with, and all we're talking about is like, oh, for that shot, you got to hit this kind of shape. Or like, it's 120 yards. Like we get the rangefinder, 120 yards. And that's all that matters for that 5 hours.
Mm.
I just
So
went
you're
down.
present.
I'm present. I went down to SoCal last week. I was with one of my best friends, and we played like 3 rounds of golf. And
Nice.
we were just hanging out. We left our phones in the car every day. We were just like hanging out, just being like we went to the beach with our friends. We played a couple rounds of golf, and we were just that's all we were doing, and it was like so nice because I haven't felt that unplugged in a while.
So is
Um,
that the balance that you talk about when we talk about balance?
it's everything, man, and that I journal sometimes when I'm
Mm,
when
I
I'm
love that.
when I think a lot. Like I'll just start writing stuff down because I feel like if you like give your thoughts a physical outlet, it'll like actually make them leave your mind.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's like that's another thing like that really helps me like kind of clear out my brain. Um, and music in general. When I start like making a song or like if I'm playing to a crowd, especially like for those 2 hours, that's all that matters. Like it doesn't.
It's magic.
It's magic. Like it just my leg will hurt. I get on the stage in 20 minutes when I'm in my set, my leg doesn't hurt anymore. It's like
It's music is
crazy.
telling you, like that day when you guys came, really my intention was to create an experience. Like
Yeah.
I really wanted everyone to who came to leave feeling like alive
Yeah.
and just loving life. And you guys really played into that, my intention, beautifully.
It was
And
1991 in that room.
right, it was but it was magic. So when you say music helps you unplug, um and just takes you to another place, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
It's really nice to have like those kind of things that you can rely on. Like I know that if I'm like having a bad day, like I'll just go to the range and I'll hit like 150 balls. Like I'll hit them and I'll just like try to hit them hard because I just want to get all like my tension out, you know. Just want to like focus on something and like put my phone down. Common denominator is the phone, you know.
It
So it's
really is. I put my phone on do not disturb all the time now, and I forget about it. And then when I look, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank God I had it on do not disturb.
yeah,
And so I was talking about this with someone yesterday about how your generation really is great at, like, you guys go head down, right? And then you come up and then like you'll take the breaks, like you'll take the vacations. Whereas our generation, like we just went head down.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, we went and party, on the weekend, but we just went head down. There was we barely came up for air, except maybe for like, those weekend parties. Um, and it wasn't sustainable. Like I burnt out many times. And what I'm seeing now is, yes, I see even, my sons and my nieces and nephews, they go head down, you guys go head down, and they're like, all right, like I'm going, away for a week, and I think that's the best in my perspective. You have to take those breaks, because if you don't, you lose your mojo. How do you feel? What do you think about
no,
that?
I completely agree. Like when um, like I mean, for example, what happened before that trip, I was like, I think I told you about this. I was like, I got to a point where there was a couple of days where I would like my phone's right there. I'm looking at my phone, and my heart starts racing. It's like I have this like I was doing so many things. I was really studying like social media and algorithms and like trying to seeing what gets more views and like how to whatever, just like a bunch of different metrics and stuff. Uh, and I just like was so like I was on Instagram for so long for like those kind of days, and I was like I got to a point where I would like look at it and like I get a notification, I like reach for the phone, like it was like disgusting. So like I started like I threw my phone across the room. Like I was like I can't do it, and I was like I literally booked the trip that day. I was like I called my friend Rami. I was like I'm coming to Orange County on Monday, and he's like okay.
Good
Uh,
for you.
uh,
Good for you.
because
And you have the awareness. So what, for you constantly grabbing for the phone and having the anxiety, what's the awareness that you're having around, like, what does that mean? Because there's a habit and a pattern there. What does that mean to you?
it's like I don't know, man. It's like because what I want to do, like with like music and stuff, it heavily relies on social media. Uh, because as an artist, like there's only I talked to people at record labels. They're like, we don't even look at artists anymore if they're not like above 50,000 followers.
Got it. Got it. So I get it, because even in my business, same thing. They're like, "How
Yeah,
many followers do you have?" I'm like, "I don't know."
yeah. It's like, oh, you have these like. Actually, I was talking to my friend the other day, and we were talking about the difference between like back in the day, it was he has a following because he's good, and now it's like he's good because he has a following. You know what I mean?
Mm. So and so there's also, I definitely believe in the kind of the spiritual piece too.
Yeah,
And do we have to be on social media to create successful lives?
it's a big question.
You
Mm.
know, And I think it doesn't have to be this or that. It could be this and that. Now, could you be successful? I've seen many people be very successful without, like, actually one of, my mentors now, he doesn't have that huge of a following, but he's extremely successful.
Yeah.
Then I see other people who have huge followings and they're, within themselves are not that successful. So there's also a facade there too that we have to be aware of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, on social media, everyone's lives are perfect. That's what I say.
And that's not reality.
That's not reality.
That's not reality. And it also comes down to, how do we feel about ourselves? Because if we're constantly reaching for outside, like if those likes are going to give you a good day or a bad day, then there's a problem.
There's a
Because
problem.
your self-esteem and your worth, it comes from here. Yeah. So it doesn't matter, it's what matters is, how are you showing up for yourself, for the people in your life? And I know that it's important to you, and you already do that. And so detaching from, yes, I know it's part of our businesses, but understanding that Anthony and Grace and Rami and Raymond and whoever else are worthy and enough because of who they are, not because of the likes and the follows.
Yeah.
And then once we connect with ourselves that way, that success breeds more success regardless of the followers.
Yeah. I always think like the reason why, I love social media for another reason is a lot of the time, the ones that get really popular and have real fans are the ones that are authentic.
That's booyah.
Booyah. So it's like, I was talking to my cousin, Avi.
He's doing amazing.
Holy cow. 400,000 followers on Instagram. Yeah. He's like, I was asking him like what I should do. Like I was giving him a video concept I wanted to make. And I was like asking for advice, and he was like, if I had one piece of advice to give anyone trying to like make content, it's just like to be yourself. Like it's very like basic advice, but it's so true because people know when you're a phony. Like
that's right.
It doesn't like you doesn't like, even if you know yourself, but like people watching, it's just like this like inherent intuition that like everybody has, that like if they're watching it, like they know when you're like acting or being real. So it's like
right. That's right. And that's, and that's exactly what they say. It's like, just show up, be real, be you, because everyone says, oh, be authentic. Well, what does that mean? Yeah. It means, what's your intention? Be yourself. So yeah, that's amazing, because that right there. And that's what I was trying to get to. I love that advice. And you know what else? Come from the heart. What's your intention?
Yeah. What do you want to get? What do you want to get across? It's like when I'm thinking of every post I make, it's like, why am I posting this?
And service.
Yeah. So the reason is usually because, one, because I think it's funny, or two, because I think it's showing people like what I'm doing and like what I care about. And like, for those who care, cool. For those who don't, cool. Fine. It's like, I just want like, I like I'm doing these kind of things like in my room. I'm making a song, and I think that it's really nice when I can like put it online and be like I just posted a video of like a song I made, and like my friends reply, hey, this is sick, man. Like I love this. It sounds great. It's cool. Like how helps you keep going because you're getting that validation, and it's like people actually know what I'm doing, so this matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And of course it's great to be validated, to say, okay, I'm doing, or affirmed, it's like knowing like I'm doing this work and it's coming back. And it's helping, it's creating an impact. Yeah. Because music is a huge service, right? Because we just talked about, like, you came and like it was such an experience. Yeah. And I have a question. So if you could open up for any artist, who would that be?
Any artist? Wow. Okay. I'm just thinking of my bigger inspirations.
Yeah, take your time.
Yeah. There's these guys. Their name is Kind Music. It's like a group. They've been in the game for a long time, Uh, I think they're German or Berlin. Like they're from. I think they're all German. One of them might be like half Algerian or something, but
Nice.
they're very big on like they play like this genre of it's called Afro house, and it's like very ethnic like dance music. Um, and it's like the kind of stuff that I love, and like I could be there for. They do 5 hours set from 2 to 7 a.m. wherever they go. Like I
Nice.
could be there the whole time. I love every second of it. So it's like and like they play like Arabic music. Like one of the guys is named Adam Port. He's like good friends with Amr Diab, and he's like
Nice.
they're about to make a song together. And
I actually just watched MRD app the other day on a video. I'm like, damn, he still looks good.
yeah, he's so and like they just did a show together in the north coast of Egypt.
Oh, nice.
Him and Amr Diab, like it's a beautiful thing. They're like that Arabic music is now these guys are like pretty mainstream. So
Yeah.
uh, so yeah, and like just like the feeling that they give is the exact feeling that like I want my music to give. So
Yes.
I would love to be with them.
Awesome. I love that. Well, we're putting that out to the universe. It
Always.
hears and listens. So, what would you say has been one of your, greatest challenges so far, and how have you overcome it?
In life in general.
Yes, whatever you want to share, whatever you feel comfortable.
Okay. Okay. So, um, what I will say is I've learned a lot about myself this year.
Mm.
The when I was just talking about how like where everyone's at their own pace and like it's okay to not be here at this time, I didn't know that until like a couple months ago. So I was like maybe from October 2023 until I don't know, probably January, like that, like kind of last semester. I was like every day I was thinking because I didn't have an internship locked in. And when you're going into your senior year, you should have one in summer. Um, and I like for me, I was like, okay, well, like if I don't have like this, okay, I'm gonna give you an example of how my brain works. This is the thought process I had. Okay, so I don't have an internship, so that means I'm never gonna get a job, and that means that I have to rely on music, and that means that if I don't hit on music, then I'll be worthless, and then that means I have nowhere else to go, and that mean like that's like my
Yes,
thought
that's
process.
how it works.
So
It
like I
spins
was
us into a chaos.
in chaos. So I was sitting there. I was just like didn't. I was like pissed off every day, and I was like, and I kept looking for internships, which just wasn't working. Um, and then all of a sudden I found one, and it went away. So it just like
The
I was.
thought went away when you found the internship.
It's just as if it was never in my brain. It was like
Mhm.
so, and it did like so. I was trying to think like, wait, why did that matter so much to me? Like, why did
Mm.
because it's not like I was trying to figure out why I was thinking that way and like try to understand you know like why I led myself to that. And it's like I realized like first of all half the anxiety that we create for ourselves, for me at least, um, is like fictional. Like,
Totally,
no,
1000% true.
it's like not
Me too.
like it's not worth it. It's like I had this idea like, oh my gosh, like you know if I don't do this one thing this one time, like the rest of my life is ruined. That's not true. There are
Oh,
like I'm like
that's not true.
I'm like 20 years old. I have like there's so much time to like do something, like figure something out, and like it's very normal to like be in the position I was in.
Yes.
Um,
Which brings me to the next question was going to be, how do now that you've had that experience and you saw like everything worked out, when those critical thoughts come into your mind, how do you navigate them now?
so I'm really trying to like get better at taking things one by one. Like instead of thinking like, oh, like I have to get all these things done like this fast at the same time, or else this will happen. Like no, I'm thinking like as long as I like progress myself as a person right now, like I think I'm
Mhm.
fine
Amen.
because at the end of the day, like I was talking to my dad about this the other day. I was like when I'm by this summer, throughout my college career, I'm going to have, a college diploma. I have become a single digit handicap golfer. That's like, I'm very happy with that. That was my goal, that was my goal for college, and it happened. Um, I've become a much better music producer than when I started college. That
Mm,
happened, and it's gonna keep happening.
yes.
Um, and I have like kind of a solid idea of like where I want to start in the workforce. Like those are the four
Very.
things that I wanted to accomplish, and I'm pretty much already accomplished them in this junior year.
And that's
So,
amazing. What
so,
do you believe was the key to accomplishing those things for you?
so like again, the way I think, if I don't like when I said one by one, I told myself that like I had that conversation with myself when I started. I was like, okay, like this is what I have to do in that period of time. I'm a very like forgetful person. I like, I'm very all over the place. I'm scatterbrained. That's just how I am.
You and most of us. So
So it's like it's just how I am, and like I'm not ashamed of it. I'm trying to be better. I just a lot of the time I forget stuff. I have an alarm for every single thing that I do. So
you're getting organized.
I am, but it's just um, like that's how I am. So, but the common denominator is the thing gets done,
Yes.
which I'm,
So you're
which
taking action and you're committed to the
exactly,
action and you're consistent with the action.
exactly. I think all that really matters is that if you want to do something and you actually try to do it and do it, even if you fail, if you try to do it and give your effort, that's what matters. It's not like oh, um, like if something goes wrong or like if you don't get exactly the outcome you wanted, just the experience of you putting yourself under that stress to push forward and do it, that's what you want, because
Yes.
that's what teaches you everything.
You just hit it completely on the
So
nose.
that's
You
that's
just
what
show
I think.
up. And like you said, little by little, you just want to be better every day and you've accomplished what you've wanted to accomplish.
Well,
So, how important do you believe mindset is to our success?
I mean, it's everything.
Mm,
If I think to myself, if I don't have a successful music career in the next 2 years, I should give up and that's it. I'm not meant to do this. The odds of someone that thinks like that succeeding compared to someone who's like, no matter what, I'll never stop, and it doesn't matter where it goes, I love it, and I'm gonna keep going. You know, the odds of that person succeeding are much higher than the first one. It's like,
big.
and that's how I think. Like, if I like, as long as I keep these kind of hobbies going, and like I keep this balanced lifestyle like moving, like something will hit. Like whether like it's like my job in like in the business world, or maybe one of my videos goes viral, or maybe something like something else happens. It's like you can't predict what you're gonna do. So like I feel like if you just help keep building yourself and maintain the balanced lifestyle, like that's it. Like having that mindset of like, I love what I'm doing and I'm gonna keep going. Like that's all that really matters, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And you never know what unfolds.
Yep.
And it's usually absolutely more amazing than you could have ever imagined.
I mean, life is beautiful, man. I mean, I've met a lot of people. I'm constantly like meeting new people that have different stories. Like the other day, I was at a party. And it was an Afro beats party, and I was dancing with this guy, and I was like, "Where you from?" He was like, "I'm from the Congo." I was
Nice.
like, "That's so cool." I was like, "That, like he's, it was like them. Imagine how many stories this guy has. Like the clothes he was wearing. He was like wearing this cool like sweater vest and like these like pants. I've never seen pants like the ones he's wearing. And he's like in America. Like imagine like what led him to be at that party at that time. Like
That's amazing.
what I mean? Like there's so many stories. I love meeting people. That's
I do. I do too.
yeah.
And that's what that fuels me. And you're right. Life is beautiful. Yes. There are definitely challenges for sure. And chaos. And that's why it's so important for us, especially us, to continue to show up, to do the work, to be the best we can be. And like you said, take the steps every day just to be a little bit better, because it's very important for us to get into positions of influence. It doesn't matter if it's media, corporate, entertainment, whatever it is, because when we get into those positions, then you have more of a voice. So I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it said, where do you see the country going in the next 5 to 10 years? He said it's going to be those managers, leaders, entrepreneurs that are going to start making the difference. So I definitely see that, you being one of them, Habibi.
Hopefully.
I see that, you and your incredible generation. So what's one piece of wisdom that you can leave someone, who's watching, isn't sure which direction to go, really wants to do something they love, but is kind of feeling stuck in the box? What would you tell them?
So, okay. So here's a story. I was talking to somebody I was at the Ramallah convention. For those who don't know, Palestinians from Ramallah, Palestine. There's a convention every year in a different city where like 1,500 of these people from the same city in Palestine come and like
Up
hang
to
out.
3,000 people. I was telling someone that the other day.
Yeah, up to 3,000 people. They come in a hotel and they're just like hanging out and being with each other for a week or like 4 days. It's a beautiful event. A lot of these people go to these conventions to get married. That's not a secret. Like people act like it isn't, but a lot of the time, like they want to meet people. It's not a bad thing. They want to meet people that have this like
everybody wants love.
They're like-minded people who all have good backgrounds and are all good families, and everyone is from Ramallah, and everyone loves the culture. It's a great place to meet someone that you might pursue a relationship with. So I was talking to this girl, and she was like, "Oh, so what do you do like in your free time?" And I was like, I DJ and make music. She goes, And I was like, what was that? She was like, red flag.
Really?
I was like, okay. And
Bye,
she goes,
Felicia.
huh?
Bye, Felicia.
Not Felicia. So I was like, okay, so explain that to me. She was like, DJ's a red flag. And then I went to I was like, okay, and I moved on. And I went to like some of my friends who are girls, and they're like, I mean, yeah, like generally it is.
Why though?
Because the perception of DJ is like, oh, he does it because he wants to have clout and like get more girls and like whatever. So
Got it.
and it's true. 80% of DJs do it because they want to look cool, and like it's but what I tell people is like I don't see it that way. Like I started doing it because I was 14 and my dad wanted to get me off video games, so he was like, hey, music.
Right.
So like it just I built like this actual love for it, and like when I'm at a party, like I'm focusing on the music. I'm not like that's why I'm there. So like I'll tell these people like, and whether or not they like agree with like whether or not like I'm a red flag or not, like it doesn't bother me because like I know that I love what I'm doing. So it doesn't like if there was one piece of advice to give someone, I would probably say it's a common like this we've kind of been talking about the same thing, like very like there's like nuance throughout this whole podcast, but just making sure that you don't change who you are for a certain thing or person.
Mm-hmm.
That is like key, because as like if you are authentically yourself, like a lot of the time, like I don't do a lot of the things that like the traditional like Arab population does. Like a lot of the things
That's why.
do. So like a lot of the things that we do is like, oh, they're doing that, like that's okay, like that's. But it's just I love what I am and I love what I'm doing, and I'm not gonna change for anybody. So if they don't mess with it, that's cool. But as long as you know who you are, you never fail.
Amen to that.
Because you'll meet the people that like I met someone the other day and we having this conversation, and then she was like we just having the most like easy conversation because we had the same interests, and she was like, that's so sick. And I was showing her like the song I made. Oh my god, that's so cool. Whatever. It was the very easy conversation because there's like-minded people. There's no you're vibing. So like if you always continue to be yourself, you will meet people that appreciate that version of yourself.
Mm.
No,
Ah,
it's like just don't change yourself. That's the only thing. Okay,
yes, to that, young brother.
you know, brother.
Good. Oh, I love that.
That's how I think. I mean, I
That's
feel
so
like if you don't think that way, I feel like you're trying to like please everybody, and like you're
that's right.
like you can't get where you want to be if you do that.
Believe me, I've been there and done that, and I love that.
Yeah.
I love that advice. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining me today. You just made my day. It was awesome to connect with you. And for those who are watching, if they're interested to follow you and learn more, where can they find you?
Follow me on Instagram at Muse Musica, Muze Musica, and on my page I got a link to all my stuff, my SoundCloud, my Spotify, everything. So
Awesome. And then we will also share that. And again, thank you for being here with me. I really appreciate you. And like I said, we'll share your information, here for anyone who is also interested. And for those of you that are watching, listening, replaying, as always, I am so grateful for you. And please subscribe, like, and share because you never know who may need to hear these wise words. And Anthony, hang on with me until next time. I love you. I am grateful. And I really wish you an incredibly blessed day. I'll see you soon. Bye. Hang on with me, Anthony.